Hey guys, just taking out the garbage here real quick. This garbage really does smell though. What is in here? Oh boy. Oh, yeah. Here's what we're going to be talking about today on the Flash Reorder, the Si Spurrier run. And welcome back, everyone, to the final episode of the Flash Reorder. And we're at this point. So it seems like in the career of every comic character, every comic book run, there's always going to be that one run. That one run that really just did not agree with a lot of people. And what most people consider to be, including myself, the worst run on The Flash. And this is the run by Simon Spurrier, or Si Spurrier, seems to like to call himself. I'm sure the man is a wonderful man. I'm sure he's written other stuff that is probably way better than this. But yeah, this ain't it. But yeah, let's dive into this. And yeah, let's get things started here. This is Volume 1, Strange Attractor. So we start off here where Wally and Linda are having like a nice dinner together. And then he realizes he has to go stop a villain. And Wally starts running, and then he somehow trips up, and he's now somehow in another dimension. And eventually we do find out, we see a mirror, he shatters it, and he ends up taking down Mirror Master, but not just any Mirror Master, Evan McCulloch. Evan McCulloch is back. He hasn't been seen since before the New 52. No explanation of why he's back, what happened to Sam. I guess I just decided, you know what, I'd rather use Evan, so here we are. And this little story just acts as like a little piece, because this was part of the Flash number 800 that I talked about in the last episode. This was kind of like a preview of his run. And now we officially start here, where we last left off Bart and Max in the desert, like running. And then they see like a buffalo, which will play a part in the run later on. I'm going to try to explain this story as best as I can. I'm not going to go over the whole thing, and I'll try to explain it as best as I can. But basically, oh, and one other thing I should mention too. So this is actually considered to be the Flash Volume 6. So this is now the start of what is now the current run of books going on right now. So yes, this is a new Flash number 1. So, and this is the stuff that is currently going on. Flash runs in the garage here. Again, a lot of weird, crazy stuff is going on. One thing I do like that this run kind of does is they do have this little scenario with Linda, where she's kind of going through this like depression after losing her powers after the baby being born, which I thought was kind of an interesting angle to explore. But outside of that, though, I mean, this run is just weird, and look at some of the artwork as well. The panel layout, it's all over the place. And for some weird reason, the artist decided to draw Wally to look like Chris Evans. I don't know. Yeah, and then we meet these aliens who are somehow part of the Speed Force. Like I said, this story's so weird. I'm sorry, guys. I'm gonna try my best to explain it, but basically what the premise of the story is that we find out that there are these villains named the Archangels. No, not the Archangels, the Archangels. What they keep making a joke about, like, oh, we spelled it wrong. So they're basically in like the Speed Force now, somehow corrupting it, and also we find out, or at least what is shown to see is we're seeing that there are actually effects of the speedsters using the Speed Force and running around, specifically in the other parts of different dimensions from different angles. Like, there's like a whole nother dimension that shows like, oh my god, this is being destroyed when Flash is just simply running down the street, you know? And also we get this weird thing where Barry's sitting in the park. He's acting a little out of it, and we see these like weird eye things. Yeah. Yeah, so you see here, this is like Barry and Max and the Wally and Max in the other dimension, like exploring, and we see all these like weird alien etc. Like, yeah. Grodd's involved as well. A lot of the villains get involved in this as well, including the Folded Man. The Folded Man plays a pretty big part in this whole story. And eventually we see that Wally ends up going into the Speed Force again, but he goes into this, like, new part of it, this, like, paradise that, like, shows all of his memories, and all these statues represent, like, different memories of him. But, of course, while he's there, he's somehow, like, causing destruction. I'm sorry, guys, again, I'm trying to explain it. But we do take a brief break with this story, and we have a tie-in for Teen Titans Beast World. And this is also written by Si Spurrier, and it deals with Barry teaming up with Irie and the other speedsters to like take down what's going on in Beast World, because Wally's like in that like weird Speed Force paradise right now. And this story is actually pretty good. It's really good. I like the way he writes Barry. Even in this regular story, I like how he writes Barry for the most part. And you do get this moment where Barry's kind of hesitant about going out to the field because he's got a lot going on with the main Spurrier stuff, and he's a little nervous about going in there. Also, Godspeed became an insect. Yeah, that's the whole thing of Beast World. Beast World, everyone becomes a different animal. They all get affected by Beast Boy's power. Anyway. But there is this great moment where Barry's kind of losing his confidence a bit. Iris talks to him. She goes, I don't know what this put this dent in your smile, but I know you. I know you're scared and suffered. I know you're out. Sorry, you've cut your name across the multiverse versus letters made of light. You think it changes who you are now that Wally's quicker. He worships you. Going fast is literally the least interesting thing about you. You are the man I've ever loved in any time, in any world, because when something's wrong, you do not stop until it's right. And that gives Barry the confidence, and him and Irie go to stop the problem. And it's cool because it's kind of like this mythology story that like follows different speedsters. And eventually they do take down whoa, excuse me. Eventually they do take down the Godspeed bug. This is honestly probably the best part of the run, and it's not even part of his run. It's just a tie-in. I mean, actually, there is one other issue, but I'll get to it. But anyway, back to the weird madness of Si Spurrier. While he's back home, he's still contemplating what exactly he saw. Irie wants to help, but of course he's out of it. He's back in this weird world now again. He's literally grabbing the word bubbles. Okay. Oh, we also do find out that that some people are like taking certain speed drugs. You mean Velocity 9 Spurrier? Is it Velocity 9? Because it's weird because they don't mention it at all. Like, they don't say Velocity 9, but, like, the way Spurrier writes it, he writes it as if, like, it's, like, this whole new thing they never heard of. I gotta say, I do like Mirror Master's new design here. I think it's pretty cool. I just wish we had more of an explanation of why Evan's back. Because, again, Evan wasn't seen since the New 52 reboot. Like, they went back to Sam, they rebooted, and then we never heard from Evan again until this run. Okay, but here's some of the positives about this run that I will say. They do a lot with Jai, and they explain more of his powers and what he can do. Like, honestly, Jai is probably the standout character of this run. And eventually he does meet this character named the Pilgrim, who admittedly I do kind of like as well. He's a little kooky, a little out there. That's him, the Pilgrim. We do find out, of course, he does have a connection to the Flash family. I'll just say it now. It's Wade. It's Wade from the future. Like, their third son, Wade, it's him. It's him from the future. And here come the Archangels again. The beacon must be set. Must see what it lures. Uh-huh. Yeah, that eye thing, that's what that beacon is. The eye thing that was above the Flash statue. But one of the other cool things that we do find out that Jai can do is that Jai can actually reach out to different speedsters. Like, he can feel the presence of different speedsters and go to any their location he can anytime he wants. They kind of explored that in the earlier runs, in the Wild West era run of Wally being able to be connected with the kids and all that. But like, this goes more into like Jai actually being able to do it and going to any speedster he wants, and also that he can somehow access like different parts of the Speed Force in different dimensions. It's pretty. I will say it's pretty cool. Like I said, if there's any good thing about this run, it's what they did with Jai. Also, one thing I like is too, we kind of get some like team up with Barry and Wally. There are some good moments in here with Barry. At least until the end here. Where we find out what exactly has been going on with Barry. Barry's mind has been taken controlled by this enemy, by the Archangels. And he's basically being used to get Wally out of the way for their plan. And at one point, he just out of nowhere stabs Wally, sends Wally to that other dimension. And who is controlling Barry? The Crown of Thorns. Ba ba ba. All right, so this is volume 2, Until Time Stands Still. So this is basically continuing the arc from the first volume. Yeah, it's one big, long, 12-issue arc. We do find out what the deal with Pilgrim is. That Pilgrim's part of a bureau investigating all the different random stuff going on in time and space, based in the future. The reason he is here is because he knows something's wrong in the past, so he's trying to, like, fix it. And we do get some stuff here with Barry, because Barry, for the most part, didn't realize exactly what he did. Again, he's being, like, under this, like, mind control. So it kind of just, like, comes and goes. And one thing, too, that I will say that's going on, too, like, you see right here, like, yeah, he was normal, now it's like, oh, no, again, But one other thing that was going on, too, around the time of this book is there was a DC event coming up called Absolute Power, and there were a lot of tie-ins and lead up to it. Specifically deals with Amanda Waller finally doing something about getting rid of all those damn superheroes. So we get some tie-in material for that. And then we get this, like, annual, which is weird as shit. Like, I'm just gonna say it right now. This run fucking sucks. And I don't know what the fuck this man was thinking when he was writing this. I think the best way I can describe this run is that it's almost like he was trying to be Morrison, but not doing a good job. Abracadabra shows up at one point, so all the rogues show up in this for the most part, and I don't even like what they do with them here. It's very, like, weird, like... Alright, so, basically, I'll talk about the ending later. I do like this shot, though. This is where Barry's trying to fight off the crowd of fawns, who... Basically, what their deal is that they are all remnants of, like, fawns from, like, different parts of the multiverse, like, all different versions of them, and all coming to corrupt Barry. And what I like, too, is that I like that it's not just fawn, it's all different reverse flashes. So they'll say, like, our names, Earbar Fawn, Hunter Solman, Edward Clarence, who was actually the rival. He's Jay Garrick's... Basically, he's the OG Reverse Flash. Like, he was Jay Garrick's Reverse Flash. So I like that they added him there. Yeah, basically what's going on is Barry's trying to fight this off, that, like, the Fawns are telling him to, like, kill Linda. He's, of course, not going to do it. He's even got this knife. And Iris is able to, like, snap him out of it. Like, I love how Iris is, like, so nonchalant about it. Like, she's just like... She literally just goes, this is one of those evil taking control of the hero's mind, etc., etc. And she's just like, yeah, run. I got this. Yeah. And while all this is going on, like, Wally's still in that weird Speed Force dimension thing. And this is where it gets revealed that he's Wade. That the Pilgrim is Wade. And then we probably get what I consider to be the best issue of the run. And it's funny because, again, why is it the best issue? Because it has nothing to do with his actual story. It's another tie-in. It's a tie-in to Absolute Power. So while he's dealing with this, Barry is actually fighting this giant Batman mech armor robot. This is the same mech armor. I don't know if you guys ever read Scott Snyder's Batman run. This is the armor that Batman was able to use to take down the Justice League in Endgame. The difference, though, is that you find out it's actually not Batman piloting it. It's Green Arrow. If you want to know more about that, check out Absolute Power. So yeah, it's basically kind of like this cool fight between Barry and Green Arrow, and he has no idea it's Oliver in the mech. It's a pretty cool, fun issue. Also, we get some stuff with Jai and Pilgrim, which like I said, I do like Jai and the Pilgrim. I do like them. Like, Jai and Pilgrim are probably like the best part of this run. All right, but now we're gonna get near the end of this run. I'm gonna wrap this up real quick and get to the next arc. All right, so basically what's going on is these creatures known as the Archangels are basically, they don't like what the Speed Force is doing, and they feel like it's destroying life. And basically what they want is they just want time to freeze, and they don't want life to continue. So they make this whole setup job where they hire the rogues and give them these extra dimensional powers and make it seem like as if like the Flash is actually destroying the city or causing like bad things to happen with the Speed Force, where really they're not. They're just being shown it in these alternate dimensions that really don't affect anything. It's very weird. But needless to say, what we do find out is something is wrong with the Speed Force. What isn't it? And Wally's been followed with this like ghost woman this entire time. He's been in this weird sanctuary place. We find out, of course, it's Linda, which makes sense. But this eventually does all result where they do take out the rogues. They deal with the Archangels, not the not the Archangels. But yeah, we do get this cool moment where Wally's like running to like try to stop everything. He's basically he's passing like all of his like friends and allies, and eventually it does end with him and Barry running together. We get this like nice monologue of how much Barry means to him and all that, which I think is cool. And that's the two of them working together to like cut out the problem, like literally cut it out with a knife. Yeah, these are the Archangels. Like, time must die. Archangels, whatever. Yeah, they don't want time to go on. They just want time to stop. Yeah, this run is so weird. And this ending gets even weirder, too, because what we find out later on is the Speed Force is going through something where it rediscovers life, and we actually find out the Speed Force is having a baby. Okay. Yeah, so, the Speed Force eventually, with the help of Linda and the family, gives birth. What the fuck? And when they give birth, they also get a dog. And now the West family has a dog out of nowhere. We'll find out more about that dog. I have nothing against dogs. I love dogs, but yeah, it literally just comes out of nowhere. And yeah, the story does end where it does kind of tease what the next arc is going to be, which is somehow worse than this. But yeah, let's get into that. All right, so this is the Flash Volume 3 as above. So basically what was going on was, sorry about that. So what was going on at one point was, while Si Spurrier's first arc was running, as you can see, a lot of people, including myself, were like, Mr. Spurrier, what the fuck are we reading? So Spurrier decided, all right, you know what? I'm gonna change it up a bit. I'm gonna try like do something not as kooky. He somehow makes something more kookier. Like, actually, it is funny. Like, I do like this cover, and it's funny. Like, he even kind of like, in a weird way, he almost like responds to fans where it literally says genre shift. Like, all right, I'm changing the genre. I'm not doing horror anymore. Yeah, that was another weird thing too. It's like he said this was like a horror book, that first story. I'm like, it was horror, right? In a way. I don't think not in the way you intended. But now I do have to rant about something real quick. So, alright, but before we get to that, one thing that happens is, Wonder Wizard goes to this other point, like, further down the center of the earth, where he deals with, like, these, like, dinosaurs, and he's, like, corrupting it, so the Flash family go to investigate. The best way I could put this story is, it's almost like he's like, alright, I'm going to give you what you guys want. He basically writes almost like his version of what a Jeremy Adams story would be, but does it in his way, and it just does not work. But here's the other thing that's going on. So at one point, Wally and Ace are stopping some crimes, and we find out that Wally is just trying to stall for time. What's he stalling for time for? He's stalling for Barry's retirement party. Now I'm sure you're wondering, why is Barry retiring? Because back in Absolute Power, at the end of that event, apparently what happens is some powers were given to new people. Like, for example, Lois Lane got the powers of Superman for a bit in the Superman run, which is pretty good, by Joshua Williamson. Check it out. But also, some heroes lost their powers. Yes, Barry Allen no longer has powers right now. What the fuck? I mean, I can't fully blame Spurrier. That's not him. He didn't write Absolute Power. That was Mark Waid. But, yeah. I mean, I think Barry's going to get his powers back eventually. I mean, this has been going on for, like, because this came out, like, maybe, like, a couple years ago, so he'll get it back eventually. And I do like what they do with Barry here for the most part. Outside of my rage. But yeah, we do get this nice moment where Barry does give Wally the ring. He gives him his ring, aka the same ring made by his, made from his parents' wedding bands. Also, another thing is Wally gets a new costume. Not really a fan. I'll show you more of a better shot of it, but wait, where is it? I know there's like a full shot of it here somewhere. Okay, right here. Yeah, that's the new costume. Yeah, not really a fan. Like, I don't like the black on it. Like, I mean, I'll say this: I think it looks better than the costume that Barry had during the Zoom storyline in Vendetti's run. But outside of that, yeah, not a fan. Thankfully, though, he loses his costume, and in the current run coming up by Ryan North, he goes back to his normal costume. Like I said, it's not horrible, but I'm just like, it's one of those things where it's like, if it ain't broke, they'll fix it. You know, like, you don't need to add black to the Flash. Just make it red. I mean, admittedly, I do think the cowl is cool, especially because it's supposed to be a homage to Barry. But the actual suit itself and the black trimming, it's not a fan. It's not the worst, but it's not the best either. So anyway, at one point, while this family vacation's going on, there's been this other incident that Wally was called to by the Justice League, and he denies it because, again, he wants to spend time with his family after the madness of the last story arc. But we find out that Irie's able to channel her father's energy to use his Justice League card. Yeah, that was the whole thing that was introduced at the end at the All-In special. And she finds out, she gets teleported to the Watchtower and sees her dad. Wally's somehow in two places at once. So basically what's going on is Wally has discovered this new ability where he can make copies of himself. I mean, there have been times where Flash can do that, like even the show Reverse Flash did, like the Speed Mirage, but Spurrier takes this to a whole nother level. And basically what's going on here is Wally's just trying to do two things at once. I guess the whole crux of this whole run is Wally trying to, like, do so many things at once as the Flash, but also be, like, a father, and it kind of, like, gets to him after a while. So what we find out is the Wally who's on the Watchtower helping Pilgrim investigate the other problem, that's the real Wally, while the Wally who's on the family vacation is the clone that they have with the family. So yeah, I'm just going to skip around here for a bit. They eventually do take down Winter Wizard, because we find out there is a bigger bad here. Oh, and Warlord's here too. Hey, Warlord. For Skataris! Though we do find out that it's actually not Warlord. We find out he's being possessed by someone. And who is he being possessed by? Eclipso! We literally just did an Eclipso storyline in the last run. Okay. Yeah, so Eclipso's going to be the villain for the rest of the run. I mean, don't get me wrong, I like Eclipso, but it's just like, we just did a story with him on the Abs run, and literally, I think that was the worst part of that run. Maybe I don't like Eclipso, I don't know. But yeah, okay, the dog. Yes, let's get to the dog. So the dog, Wolfie. So remember how I told you the Speed Force had a baby? That's the baby. The baby's the dog. Which admittedly I do think is kind of cool that the dog is basically like this, is basically like a vessel of a new Speed Force. But it's still like freaking weird. Though I will give Spurrier this is, I like how he writes the dog. Like, he writes it in a way where he is writing it in the mind of a dog. Like it says, oh, poor young master. Smells bad. Smells sad. Smells scared. Oh, I know. The slobber of comfort make his stop to do the happy shape. This is the goodest thing. And even when Jay says he's a good dog, he goes, I am? Oh, I am. Like, I like that. I think that's cute. But yeah, eventually though, this story leads where, yeah, because one of the other things that's going on is Wally does go a little bit crazy with experimenting with some of these powers. He gets a bit upset as well because he gets overwhelmed by trying to do all these things at once, being the Family Guy, being the Flash. But eventually this is all going to lead to where Eclipso somehow, okay, stay with me here, Eclipso somehow is able to harness the power from the dog, right? Okay, the Speed Force baby dog. He's somehow able to harness that energy and basically even the way they say he literally like eats him. Like, okay, yeah, so this is the merging. The dog comes in, Eclipso comes in, they merge together. And basically, Eclipso becomes like the new Speed Force. And basically becomes this god, and he decides to take over this moon. And turns into this. And this will lead into the last arc, Bad Moon Rising. Oh, joy. Alright, so this is Volume 4, Bad Moon Rising. This is the worst arc of the run. But thankfully, it's the last arc of the run. Let's get this over with. And also, guys, I'm just going to say right now, this ain't going to be all grim. I am gonna show. We are gonna talk about more. We'll add a couple bonus books in here, but yeah, let's just get this over with. If you like this run, I apologize. More power to you. I'm just not a fan. So anyway, here. I'll give my best summary of what happens here. So basically, remember how I said that like Wally discovers these like new powers where he can like split himself. So what he decides to do is he constantly makes copies and clones of himself, and I'm talking like millions, to basically be this like army to go up against Eclipso, and it basically acts as like this weird like war story. Oh, one thing we get here, too, that's kind of cool, is the general who's running them is the Boom, a.k.a. Jay Garrick's daughter. She was introduced in another book called The Flash Jay Garrick. I'll show that off real quick at the end. That's a way better book than this. Please go check it out. But yeah, there's a lot of weird stuff that happens here, and Wally kind of acts like an asshole again. We get this one issue where Barry comes in, like, thanks to Jai pulling him in. Because, actually, that is one nice thing that they give me a little bit of hope, where they say Barry still has a little bit of Speed Force energy in him that Jay is able to connect with him. So I'm like, alright, good. So there is a chance. But yeah, Barry goes to talk to him for a minute. He tries to, like, motivate. Actually, to be honest, what I love is Barry literally reacts to this as if I'm reacting to it. Like, he's just like, what? Wait, you're cloning yourself? And even worse, what he's doing is the clones that don't work out, he literally kills them off and merges them to a better clone. Like, Barry literally calls him out for it. He's like, you're fucking killing them. And Wally's whole thing is like, well, they volunteered. Yeah, Wally's like very out of it in this story. He comes back to the light side at the end, but for now, yeah, he's very out of it. But yeah, this, oh my god, it's so bad. I mean, also, yeah, and the rogues are here for some reason. The rogues get recruited in this again. Like, I'm like, what? Like, why? Why are the rogues here? If you're not going to do anything good with them, don't use them. Yeah, we do get some more where Wally loses it. Shut up! That's me reading this run. But yeah, we do get this one other storyline where one of the clones is actually not fully, like, just following orders all willy-nilly. He's kind of considered to be Wally's better half, his light half. And he's probably the closest thing we have to the actual Wally outside this other guy who's more Wally's darker half. You can see where the ending's going to go, right? Two halves of Wally. What do you think's going to happen? But yeah, he ends up teaming up with Jai and Pilgrim, which I like. And like I said, I love Jai and Pilgrim. They're the best part of this run. Oh, and the Shade gets involved. The Shade is dealing with Eclipso. Okay, basically, here's what it is. I'll give a 2-second summary of this one issue that we had, where we had a whole issue having to explain why the Shade is in this story. His lover is dying. Eclipso makes a deal with him to work with him, and he'll save his lover. That's it. We didn't need a whole issue for that. I mean, unless if you like the Shade, cool. Otherwise, I don't see why we need an entire issue for that. Jeez, yeah, that's how long this is. Oh my god, come on. Alright. So now we're near the end of the book. Oh, and also we do find out that Eclipso was actually the one that was making Shade's lover sick and forcing him to join him. So there's that. Okay. So here's the big crux of what we do find out. Is that we find out that the whole reason Eclipso is doing all this is because he wants attention. He wants to be fulfilled. He basically wants someone to tell him he did a good job, because apparently he's been talking to Darkseid all this time, and as of right now, Darkseid died. Darkseid died back in the All-In special. He exploded. He became the Absolute Universe. It's a whole thing. So anyway, the other Wally, Jai, and the Shade try talking to him and try to be like, look, like, you don't have to do this, blah, 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 blah. But what they mistakenly do is they give Eclipso the confidence that I guess he needed to now become more of a villain and more powerful. Like, yeah, I do like this where it's like, my legacy! And Wally goes to them and he's like, what did you do? See the shot of Wally laughing? That's me trying to get through this whole run. But what we do find out is one of the reasons, again, why he is so powerful is because he still has the dog, aka the Speed Force baby, inside of him. And something is keeping that dog specifically in him. What we find out is that it's Barry's ring. Apparently, one of the clones had the ring and he lost it. And by the way, there's a part that pissed me off where Wally acts as if like it's just not a big deal. And Barry's like, what the fuck? That was like my parents' ring, you asshole. So yeah, eventually they get the ring out of him. And the way they even describe it is horrible, because basically they keep saying how the dog hasn't pooped yet. Meaning he hasn't pooped out the ring. Folks, I'm not kidding. That's literally the dialogue. Eventually, though, once they get the ring out of him, it gives the Flashes, all the other Flashes, the ability to run into him, explode the moon, get the dog out. Pilgrim gets the dog. And that's how Wally saves the day. And where is it? There's this moment that kind of like annoyed me, where where is it? Like Linda says something, and it's almost like the way Linda says it. It's almost like Si Spurrier responding to the fans like in a smart ass way. Where is it? I can't find it. But yeah, literally, like, they say something to the equivalent of, like, or maybe it's here. Okay, yeah, it's right here. Wally says to Iris, because Linda's, of course, writing the whole story about all this, and Wally goes, temporal distillation, gods disguised as dogs, the illusion of individuality, etc., etc. Are you really expecting them to get it? Well, yeah, it starts here where he goes, say, honey, don't you think this stuff's a little out there for your readers? Yeah, it is, Si. It is. But it does mercifully end with the different Flashes all playing basketball. And that is the end of the worst run in the history of the Flash. But now, this is the last episode. I don't want to be all negative. Let's go into what's been going on in the more recent stuff. The stuff that came out after Spurrier. So, this is the Flash issue 26. Not collected in trade yet. The trade should probably be coming out later in the year. But, yeah, this has been all the stuff that's been going on after Spurrier. So, we have another tie-in event. DCKO. Which is pretty good. I say check it out. But anyway, while that was going on, the Flash decided the Flash book to have a tie-in series to it to kind of like fill in the gap in between Spurrier and the new writer Ryan North coming on. Ryan North actually will be coming out as we're recording this video. Ryan North's first issue will be coming out this week, March 25th. Check it out if you guys want to check it out. Whole new run. I'm very excited for it. After reading his Fantastic Four, I'm very excited to see what he's going to do with the Flash. But anyway. So who's writing this tie into DCKO, you may ask? Our good old friend, Mark Waid. So yeah, Mark Waid comes back, and I gotta tell you, man, just reading this first issue alone, it felt like I was coming home. It was like going back home. I was just like, yes, this is the Flash I know. But you still got that damn costume, but outside of that, I mean, again, the costume's not that bad, but yeah, this goes more to what happened with DC All In and what happened with Darkseid and some of the stuff going on with KO. So, okay, so just to give a crux of what happened in DC All In is Darkseid was like killed by the Justice League. He exploded into different particles and basically became like a god and made the absolute universe. And now what's going on DCKO is that he's coming back to take over everything. So what Bart decides to do, Bart Allen, is he decides to make his own Flashpoint, the Impulse Point, where he's going to go back to the All-In event to try and prevent Darkseid from dying and preventing all this from happening. Wally, of course, knows that doesn't work well, so it's literally just Wally chasing Impulse throughout this book. And they run to different characters, including the new Legion of Darkseid. They're basically the Legion of Superheroes, but evil. So yeah, that's basically what this whole story is. It is a pretty cool story. It's pretty good. But one thing that does happen later on is we do find out that Darkseid sees the Flash as such a threat, like the legacy and history of the Flash, that at one point he sends out the Legion of Superheroes, the Dark Legion of Superheroes, to go back to where it all began with that lightning bolt. The day that the lightning bolt struck Barry Allen. They want to go back in time to prevent that. So now Wally and Bart have to work together to go back in that time. But before we get into that, one thing that does happen is, so again, the whole gimmick of DCKO is the heroes fight. The heroes that are in this tournament fight each other, and this is one of the fights between Jay Garrick and Guy Gardner, which I think is pretty cool. It's a pretty cool issue. They go for like 3 rounds, and What one thing I like too is one of the gimmicks is that the rounds that they can pick different forms of like their past variant selves. So it's actually kind of cool. Like you can, like literally, it's kind of meta where the characters can pick like, oh, I can use this version of myself from like back in like the '90s or something like that. And what they decide to do in the case of Guy and Jay is Guy decides, well, you know what? I really loved it when I was a Red Lantern, so I'm going to go back to my Red Lantern days. Jay, though, being the smart old timer he is, decides, you know what I'm going to be? I'm going to be the fucking Speed Force. KO. Jay wins that round. I love the shot of Jay, too, where he's got his more old timer outfit here. Guy Gardner goes back to the Warrior. It does end though where Guy does eventually win the round. He wins like it was 3 rounds. Guy won the first round. Jay won the second round. Guy won the tiebreaker. But I do like this moment between them. Again, always having a nice relation between Green Lantern and the Flash. Guy, do me one favor. No mercy, Garrick. Don't need it. Just beat the tar out of Darkseid for me, will you? You got it, pal. And then shoots him with a missile and kills him. Doesn't fully kill him. Like, they explain it in Darkseid. They don't die. They basically just become like statues. They get eliminated. And we do get this moment where they are back in time, and Bart gets like hurt when they like travel, and Wally decides the only person who can take care of Bart is, of course, Iris, and this is before the whole everything with the Flash. So Iris is kind of like, okay, sure, but that's what makes Iris so special is that she's willing to take care of this boy who she has no idea who he is and all that. And then we do get this moment where Wally runs to the Barry to prevent everything. Admittedly, when this was going on, this kind of worried me because my first thought was, oh, please don't have it be where Wally somehow is involved in Barry's origin. That is thankfully not the case here. They kind of tease you with that, even like there's one point where they have Wally's inner monologue where he's talking about like how it's like, oh, can I really aspire to be Barry? Like if Barry wasn't around, would I be like anything at all? And I'm like, Mark, this ain't the '90s. Wally surpassed Barry. We know this at this point. Please stop. But what we do find out in this twist in this new story is we find out that Bart is actually the Speed Force, which I thought was kind of a cool callback to Fastest Man Alive, where Bart now holds the energy of the Speed Force with him. So he's basically all the Speed Force. And eventually they do go away. And Barry gets hit by the lightning. So basically what they find out is we find out that like everyone's like included in this legacy of the Speed Force. Including Wally, including Bart, including Barry. Like I said, it's a nice little story. It's a nice little tie-in. Of course, though, we do find out that Bart, as impulsive as he is, he freaks out when he realizes that Barry's going to die in Crisis on Infinite Earths. Like he says, like, who was that? I think it's like Darkseid says, you are strong. You saved your grandfather. Ensured his destiny. A shame for all not. For he only becomes the Flash in order to die. No! So Bart decides, I have to go back to Crisis on Infinite Earths to save Barry. And Wally's like, no, you can't do that. It's going to screw up the timeline. This is the last issue. We go to Crisis on Infinite Earths. He meets Bart. Darkseid shows up as well for a bit. But yeah, we do eventually get this moment where things go as they do in Crisis. And one of the things that makes Bart stop from doing it is Jay shows back up because he sees what's been going on with his connection with the Speed Force and how he originally was the Speed Force at one point during DCKO. Yeah, it says, Bart, you are the Speed Force. You're what binds us together. Be what you're meant to be. My name is Jay Garrick. I was defeated in Darkseid's sick torment, but when Bart Allen became that Speed Force, Force Blast, I still felt it that day. I felt the heart of Apocalypse bleed. And then Barry began what he had to do. He will return to us. We fight, we endure, we die, we live, we depart, we return, our sacred cycle forever for all time. I see it happen, it hurts, every part of me grieves, screams, wails, but I know it's not the end. Don't look, Bart. And we see Barry dying again. And Bart says, Wally, the Speed Force, I can. And we get this awesome moment where Barry goes into the Speed Force as he will be until Flash Rebirth. And Barry's like, wait, where am I? Is this the Speed Force, Barry Allen? You did it. You saved us all. I'm so proud of you, Grandpa. I'm proud. I'm proud to be an Allen. Oh, I love that. Thank you, Mark Waid. And it does end there. It ends here, where they go off and they finish up what's going to be happening in DCKO. And that will lead us into the next run by Ryan North, which will be starting pretty soon. And that is the Flash Reorder. So real quick, just want to talk about this book, Jay Garrick, The Flash. This came out around the time of the Spurrier run, so I would say read it whenever you want, really. I mean, there's no really time of when you have to read it, but it came out around this time period, so if you get to this point and you really don't like Spurrier stuff, here's a nice little palate cleanser for you. But yeah, this is actually written by Jeremy Adams with wonderful art by Diego Ortegu, I believe. Forgive me if I mispronounce his name. But one of the things that does involve with the story is we actually find out that Jay and Joan had a daughter back in the day, and she was lost in time, and she was brought back in the JSA Golden Age book, written by Jeff Johns. And now this is basically them dealing with having a daughter in their life again, and Judy being her name, Judy Garrick, and her super name is the Boom. It deals with her dealing with that, as well as the mystery of how exactly she did disappear in the first place. Dealing with a villain that is a villain that's connected all the way back in the original Flash Comics #1. A character that you would never think much of. He's a character that's in that issue, and he ends up becoming the villain. I won't give away who it is, but yeah, just when you read this, maybe check out that Flash Comics #1 again to see, like, oh wow, it's this character. But yeah, it's a really cool story, great art. Highly recommend it. And that is that, guys. That is the entire reorder on the Flash. I just picked these out because these are three of my favorite runs, so I just decided to display them here to give you a nice little background. But yeah, just want to again thank everyone's involvement. Big thank you to Kevin for editing all these episodes and getting them out on time for you guys and all that. Really big thanks to him and his collaboration. Big thanks to Stephen Ellis for some of the intros he did in a couple episodes. Big thanks to Ben for doing an episode, for doing an intro for the Jeremy Adams episode. Also, thanks for some of the copyright clips that hopefully don't get us in trouble. Cross fingers. And yeah, so I just want to thank you guys, and thank you for indulging with me for some of these episodes. I know some of them went on a really long time, like over an hour, but I'm glad you guys indulged me with my love of this character, my all-time favorite character in comics. So yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed it, and hopefully we'll get some more Flash on me soon. And yeah, so, and again, of course, as always, like, subscribe to the Omnibuds Cafe, and I will talk to you guys later. And the next reorder that we're going to do is Jason Todd, the Red Hood. See you guys then.
If you're looking for great deals on collected edition comics or manga, we recommend shopping at panelboundcomics.com. They offer free shipping on orders over $30, plus bundled discounts to help you save even more. And if you're shopping from Europe or the UK, comicsbugle.com offers free EU shipping and a rewards program for regular buyers. Don't forget to use our discount codes at checkout.